Hi everybody, this is my brand new lecture series on modeling and simulation with AnyLogic, a practical guide, and I'm doing it on my YouTube channel, optimadecisionslab. So, in today's lecture, which is the first lecture, we are going to discuss the basics of modeling and simulation, and these basics they are a prereq for doing the modeling and simulation. So, before I start the basics, let's just go through the disclaimer that the tutorials made in these lectures they have been made using AnyLogic PLE edition, and which can be freely downloaded from their website, and its link is also mentioned on in the description of this video. And the material used in these lectures, it has been taken from the books, and these books are available on the AnyLogic website. So let's start the basics. So the first thing that you might have heard many times while, or you might have read many times, the term abstraction level in simulation. So what basically is the abstraction level in simulation? So abstraction is basically, it can be thought of as adjusting the level of details in the model. Means that how much detail you want to add into your model. And the idea is that while doing the simulation modeling, you should be capturing the key elements and behaviors, and these behaviors and these elements should be chosen in such a way that they are required to represent this behavior of the system accurately. So sometimes you might have read the term highly abstracted model or low abstraction. So high abstraction means that you are adding very few details. It is similar to the term that you might have come across, abstract art, in which very minimal art has been done on a paper and it presents something different. So it is the same thing in simulation, that high abstraction and low abstraction. When you say high abstraction, that means that it include the model includes very few details, yet the important details. And low abstraction means it has some, it has uh, it has details in it. So the point is that a good practitioner of modeling and simulation should be able to reduce the complexity of the model, while at the same time he or she would be able to preserve the essential dynamics for the effective analysis or the prediction using that model. So this is abstraction. The second term that you might have come across is the fidelity. So what is fidelity in simulation? So fidelity, it basically represents the degree of accuracy and the realism with which a model represent the real world system. I mean, you are trying to simulate something real world system, and you want to know how much accurate my model uh, how much my model is, and how much accurately it is representing the real world system. So higher fidelity, that means it captures more details, behaviors, and dynamics. And vice versa, that is low fidelity, it means it is sacrificing the accuracy for simplicity or simply for the computational efficiency. So two terms, abstraction and fidelity. So you might be thinking that these two things are they are opposite to each other, abstraction and fidelity. So you are right. These This fidelity and abstraction, they are generally considered as inversely proportional. That means if you increase the fidelity, you usually do you are going to decrease the abstraction, and if you are increasing the abstraction, then you are typically decreasing the fidelity. So it is kind of inverse proportional, but not strictly a linear sort of an inverse relationship. a well-designed simulation, which by the end of these lecture series you would become a better simulation expert, a simulation practitioner, uh, and you'll be able to balance the two. For example, you will be able to identify the irrelevant details that you can just abstract out, and then you can, and at the same time you would be able to judge, you would be able to make decision like how the how to abstract the irrelevant detail, and while maintaining the high fidelity in the in the critical aspects of the system. So it is that's why people call modeling and simulation more of an art than a science, but I really don't think so. I think practice will make you a good modeler, and you will be able to identify the details which you can easily abstract out, and you can adjust the fidelity of your simulation. So if I draw a plot of in which of a plot from high level to medium level to low level of abstraction. So in this plot, on the upper upper end here, you can see here on the upper end there are the problems like population dynamics, ecosystems, environment. They are the basically the topic of high level abstraction models. And at the medium level, there are the problems related to waste management, supply chains, transportation, and healthcare call center. This list is not exhaustive, by the way. I've just given a few examples here. And when you talk about the low level abstraction, this is like for manufacturing, trade, battlefields, traffic, computer hardware, and pedestrian movements. So as you can see that this red line, it is showing you the types of the problems which are generally very high abstract to very low abstract. So for simulation modeling, we have to understand what sort of problem are we dealing with. And to deal with high abstraction or medium abstraction or low level abstractions, there are generally three paradigms in simulation modeling. And three paradigms, by that I mean there are three approaches, generally accepted approaches in simulation modeling to capture this high, low, and medium abstraction level. So let's talk about these three paradigms. The first one is the discrete event simulation. Discrete event simulation, again, very commonly talked, very commonly uh, discussed in literature. It is kind of a medium to low abstraction models, and like and these models are process centric. They are representing the process, for example a manufacturing setup, the flow of the patient, and let's say the jobs moving through a factory. And then there is a very good, very interesting technique called as agent based modeling, ABM. And that is, it can be used from at a medium level, and it can be of it can capture very low abstraction, and then can also you know have a very medium to high abstraction. So agent based modeling, like for instance, if you are modeling individual trucks moving through the roads, or cars moving on in a traffic lane, or the even the market competition with the firms, so you use agent based modeling. And then lastly we have system dynamics, which is as you can see, it is on the top right, and it is used for high abstraction models. For instance, let's say if you want to model the national energy consumption trends, so you don't need to model each and every person, you're just modeling the national energy consumption trends. Or for another example that comes to mind is like you are modeling the spread of disease, or then again system dynamics, it's a very good approach for it. So to handle the high, medium, and low abstraction, there are three paradigms in simulation modeling. The first one is discrete event simulation, which is generally low abstraction to kind of medium abstraction, and then agent based models that have that agent based are my favorite models, by the way, because these models, they are very, this is a very unique type of modeling approach in which you can model from very low to very high abstraction. Then we have system dynamics, which is highly abstracted model. So I think I have already discussed what these are: system dynamics, discrete event simulations, and the agent based models. So the point is that what sort of model you should use for your simulation model. So again, when after like going through the material and or the books or literature, going watching these videos, you would be able to choose the best method that is good for your problem. For example, if you are optimizing a production line, you can easily do it with the discrete event simulation. You are just running the long-term policy impact with this, then the system dynamics is the choice. Or if, or you are studying the crowd behavior, like crowd behavior, then agent based models is the way to go. So, and this is about the method selection. Again, you will as we will you'll go through, you will go through these videos, and then I think by the end of the, and I hope and I believe that by the end of the lectures you would be able to understand, and you would be able to be a better judge of the method that could be applied in your problem. So the topics that I am going to cover in this lecture series, it is basically, I'll start with the agent based models. These agent based models, they are generally considered as tough. I want to start my lecture series with with the agent based models, because it is the, it is very interesting, and I think that you should first learn the agent based models, and then we'll move towards the system dynamics modeling, and then we'll move to the most commonly, and I think the oldest technique, that is the discrete event simulation. And finally we will also do examples and the tutorials on multi-method modeling. Multi-method modeling means that in multi-method models, that you combine agent based with the system dynamics, or agent based with the DES, and you make your model and then simulate. So these are the topics that are going to be covered. So uh, let's have a little discussion at the end on what is agent based models, because this is going to be our first topic of the in the simulation modeling. So agent based models, they are relatively a new thing. They have been around for like 15-20 years now, with increasing the computational power. So agent based models, they are, they are very unique. Agent by agent, we just do not mean the people. Agents can be machines, can be any entity, and agents can be, any passive equipment. Even a pipeline having some attributes can be an agent. So agents, they follow very simple rules, and with by following these simple rules, complex outcomes emerge from these small interactions. I mean, agents can or cannot interact with each other. When they interact, they, following simple rules, we come across very complex patterns. So agents can be of one type, or they can have, different traits and behaviors. For example, let's say you are modeling marketing, and by the way, that's going to be the first application that we are going to do in using the agent based modeling. Marketing, you are modeling the epidemics, the spread of disease, you're modeling traffic, you're modeling supply chains, social systems. These are all easily done, effectively done through agent based models. So as I discussed earlier that this is relatively a new thing and it's been around like 20 years, and these models are used for the behaviors that cannot be captured by the traditional models of the discrete event and the system dynamics. And the good thing about the agent based models is that they can be multi-method model. I mean, you can combine agent based model with the system dynamics, and you can combine them with discrete event simulation. And these are essentially, these not essentially, I mean, they can be easy, they are generally hybrid models. So uh, when the term agent based models comes, there are some kind of confusions that come across the mind of the students. The first thing is that you should understand that we do not need a cellular automata. That means that you do not have to make the grids like the ones used in the chess games to represent the movement of the agents. So no, they are not cellular automata. And the space is optional here. You for instance, if you are modeling the adoption of a product in a population, then you do not then you are not really concerned with how the people are moving in that city or on that small population. So space is optional, it is not necessary. Finally, the agents are not only people, they can machines, organizations, or any abstract entities. And even the passive objects, as I mentioned earlier, they can be the agents. So in agent-based modeling, you can increase the complexity of model or you can decrease the complexity of model. So basically, the complexity of agent-based models, it depends on a number of factors. For instance, that like your model can have few or many agents. Your model can have a single type of agent, like a popular you are doing a marketing analysis, and you are thinking that all the all the population is, it can be consumer, so you need only one type of agent, but they can be of multiple types as well. And then it is not necessary that agents should interact with each other, but so interaction are optional, but when they interact, then the model becomes more involved. And the interaction between the agents, it gives you more insight into the model. Again, it depends upon the subject, or it depends upon your target problem. So I think it's been a long lecture now, so that's all for this lecture. So in the next video lecture, we will explore a scenario for the agent-based modeling, and we will develop a comprehensive step-by-step ABM in AnyLogic. I'll present to you a problem where ABM can be applied. Then we will do it step by step. Excuse me. Finally, uh, as I would like to end this lecture by with apologies from Steve Jobs, that stay hungry, stay foolish, and then stay tuned to this channel for more simulation modeling videos. Thank you very much.